Okay, next up for your movie night, ladies and gents. This is an awesome one. Fargo. Let me start by saying, if you haven't seen Fargo, well, get another glass of wine. Get another beer. Pop those open, baby, because treat yourself to one of the most perfectly crafted, quietly deranged, and oddly relatable films ever made. Like, I don't care who you are. Man, woman, film, student, accountant, dog walker, right? This film is for you. Because Fargo, it ain't just a movie. Now, like, guys, I know, just don't get confused. There is the TV program. I'm on about the movie itself, all right? And, you know, Fargo, it's very like life, right? It's wrapped in snow, it's soaked in blood. I know that sounds maybe intense, and it's delivered with the most charmingly polite smiles you'd ever seen. And let's talk about Jerry Lundergard. Oh, this guy is just wow. Bat-esque crazy. William H. Macy's character, the most anxious little worm of a man ever to walk into a dealership office. And somehow, even though he's a total clown, a man who spins like it's oxygen and panics at the sight of his own reflection, you know someone just like him. And maybe it's your uncle, maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's your boss, maybe, you know, this man is familiar. He's too familiar. And that's the genius of his character here and the performance that he puts in, William H. Macy. And that right there, it's what makes the movie brilliant. It's absurd and grounded all at once.
Peter.
Wow. Okay, now Jerry Lundergard isn't necessarily evil. Now you can really debate me on this one and I wouldn't blame you. He's pathetic. And pathetic is worse in a way, I think. He's desperate. And he's always sweating. He's always fumbling. And then he's the kind of man who has painted himself into a corner so many times. He just assumes that that's where life happens. He's one, you know, these type of guys. And so when he hires two goons, absolute dumbasses, and by the way, this isn't giving it away. This just makes it more interesting. He hires these two guys to kidnap his own wife. Yes. Can you believe this? So he can squeeze a ransom out of the rich father-in-law. And you almost feel bad for the guy. Almost. Because you're like, dude, what are you doing? And this is where the Coen Brothers are operating on another level. You know, they don't give you movie logic. They give you real world logic. And except if it's just off-center enough to feel like a dream you half remember here. I mean, you know, everyone's too polite, everyone's too cold, too stuck in their own rituals, and yet the violence, when it comes, is vicious, sudden, brutal. One minute you're listening to a charming conversation over eggs and toast, and then the next minute someone's being fed into a chipper. That's all I'll say. That's Fargo. And then you've got Frances McDormand as Marge. I mean, she won the Oscar for this. She's amazing in this. Another performance just out of this world. Now, listen, this is one of the greatest performances in cinema history. Okay, I gotta say it. A pregnant police chief in a small town, Minnesota, waddling around in the snow, solving brutal murders while remaining one of the most compassionate, clear-eyed, and human characters ever written. And she's not flashy, she's not tortured, she's just good. And it's almost disarming in a world full of scam artists, thieves, and killers. She walks into a crime scene, looks at a corpse, and goes, oh yeah, he's real dead. And it's really funny. That's Marge. And here's the kicker. She solves the whole thing without even ever pulling a gun or raising her voice. She listens, she observes, she thinks, and she outwits them all. Now, I could spend an hour just on the accents, the Minnesota nice, actually I can't do it, the constant apologizing, the passive-aggressive kindness. There's a lot of genius in this. It's not played for cheap laughs. It's texture. It's environment. It's character. These people are so emotionally repressed. They can't even scream properly when their lives are falling apart. And it's all so quiet until it isn't. Now let's talk about Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare, shall we? Now these two absolute muppets are Jerry's hired help. Now Buscemi's loud, twitchy, annoying, and constantly complaining. Stormare is mute, brooding, and dead-eyed. This guy would give you the willies. Together, they're chaos incarnate. They bumble through this kidnapping like it's a weekend trip gone wrong, and leaving a trail of bodies in their wake. Now, this isn't giving away anything, but one of them dies bloodily, and the other ends up in a mess. That's all I'll say. Because this new movie is not about criminal masterminds. It's about idiots doing dangerous things and having no idea how deep the hole they're digging. So, you know, in the end of the movie, during the movie, you've got Jerry. He keeps trying to lie his way out, but the lies just pile up and up and up. And I think we can all relate to this, where you just know that constant liar in your life. You know, you're so fed up of their lies. It's insulting. You're like, really, do you really think I'm this dumb? And, you know, his father-in-law, he doesn't play ball. His wife's gone. The cops are closing in. The goons are just out of control. The son is terrified. And then this sweating little man in a brown suit just keeps saying, okay, now let's calm down here. You know, like he's all under control. But there's no calming down. And every time you think this movie's going to simmer, it boils. Now, the climax of the movie, we're not going to say anything. It ain't some dramatic shootout. It's not explosions. It's quiet resolution. And in that moment, you do feel it. You know, you feel all the chaos, all the carnage, all the greed and lies and panic. It meant nothing. And Marge, this quietly brilliant woman sitting there, 8 months pregnant, somehow restores the world just a little bit by just simply being good. Why should you watch Fargo? Well, because it's not just a film about crime. It's a film about the human condition. It's about weakness, desperation, stupidity, and compassion, justice, and morality. And it is funny. I mean, it's really funny. It's not slapstick dark, but it's dark, it's dry, it's Coen Brothers funny. You know, and this kind of humor that creeps in after the second beer when you realize that the world is a circus and we're all kind of wearing masks. It's the kind of movie that sticks to your ribs. Oh, pour yourself another drink, lads and ladies. Rewatch it. If you've not seen it before, watch this movie. Watch William H. Macy squirm and sweat, and watch Marge figure it all out without breaking a sweat. Watch Steve Buscemi bleed out and Stormare silently do some weird things. And when the credits roll, sit there and think about this. Think about how many Jerry Lundergards do you know in your life? How many have you met? How many have you tried to avoid like the plague? How many times have you tried to lie your way out of a jam? How often people underestimate kindness? How rare decency is? Fargo is very much a mirror, and sometimes it reflects something ugly, but somehow it also makes you feel clean. That's what makes this movie a masterpiece, lads. That's why you need to watch it. That's why the more you talk about Fargo, the more there is to say. It's a slow burn, it's a gut punch, and it's an all-time classic movie.
Peter. Wow.